am Krystal Hardy Allen. I'm the principal of Sylvania Williams College Prep here in the city of New Orleans, Louisiana.
So tell us, how is your school different than any other school in the area?
I think that Sylvania Williams College Prep is different in the sense that we really attune our curriculum and our programming to the academic standards of any other school in the city, and we are providing explicit character education, but we have a very explicit social justice focus to what we do in terms of experiential learning and also explicit dialogue that we house in and out of community meetings and classrooms with our kids. This year, for example, in May, we're taking our 5th and 6th graders to Ferguson, Missouri to meet with leaders such as the superintendent of schools, the chief of police, and other community leaders who are really heavy organizers behind the Black Lives Matter movement, and really interview them, inclusive of a couple of members of Mike Brown's family, to really say, you know, how do we take the things that we've seen on the news and the articles that we've read in classrooms here in New Orleans and bring it to real life there. We're also taking our 4th graders to Little Rock, Arkansas, and they're going to get the opportunity to meet 2 of the original 9 from the Little Rock 9 and really combine things that they read from text to live Q&A with those panelists. Last year, we took the 3rd to 5th grade to Selma, Alabama. As the city of Selma and our nation were really commemorating 50 years of the march from Selma to Montgomery. That was very huge for me because it's my hometown, and my grandparents marched from Selma to Montgomery, and it was very powerful to have our kids meet the mayor of the city and to also meet some of the grassroots organizers with Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King and ask them and really hear 8 and 9-year-olds say, when you look at 2015 now, do you feel that everything you endured was worth it? So I think a lot of times that the social justice work that we're doing here, it is very different, it is very hands-on, it's very in your face, in a very compelling way that pushes kids to think about, who am I, what is my place in the world, and how can I at my age learn from history and those who've come before me to change the world around me today.
Now, given your role in the unique education landscape in the New Orleans region, what is your biggest challenge?
My biggest challenge, I think, is trying to increase the amount of scholars that we see performing above proficiency quicker. So what we notice with the professional development that we give our teachers, whether that's in the building or outside of the building, and the coaching model that we have, our students are, our teachers first and foremost, are learning to be more effective, and our kids are growing. Within the state of Louisiana, though, as we know, there are very high accountability measures for our kids. And so I'm always thinking about, how are we making every single minute count, while, you know, navigating the balance of creating a space in where children can really be kids. So, you know, creating the balance of increased academic performance while trying to make sure that the social, emotional, mental, and just holistic education of kids is happening at the same time is, I think, it's the nature of the work. It's not defeating, we are doing it, but I can't say that there is a silver bullet to having the answer as to what that looks like school year to school year.
Awesome. And on the flip side, what inspires you?
What inspires me? There are a lot of things that inspire me. Number one, I'm inspired by being a 22-year-old core member in South Louisiana in a classroom on day 1 of school and wondering, like, what did I get myself into? It is real. Kids are coming, and I am with them all day, and no one's going to give me a break. Thinking about my day 1, thinking about the end of my first year of teaching, where I built amazing rapport with my kids, had very solid results, but then thinking in the future to my 2nd year, where I made highly significant gains with my kids, and realizing as a core member, I would have never seen myself later in life as a leader of a school in New Orleans, Louisiana. That inspires me, because what I know about our organization is that it helps you, this experience helps you really discover who you truly are and what you're truly capable of accomplishing. I felt that I was a pretty resilient person coming into the Corps, because I was the first person my entire family to attend college. I've navigated a lot of personal things in my lifetime that have everything to do with coming from a low income community, and yet teaching was something that I had to remind myself, Krystal, you have gone through X, Y, and Z before. You can do this. And yet, being on the finish side of being a Corps member really taught me not only can I do this, but I have literally changed the lives of 60 young people who to this day still call and text me and wonder if I'm coming to prom, graduation, etc. And so what inspires me is thinking about the change that we're able to make within our respective roles. I think about my 60 original kids, and now I think about 500 kids in New Orleans who get to benefit from the hopes, the dreams, the desires, and the passion that I have as a person about what should be true in their life. I'm also inspired by kids that I see growing and learning every single day, and watching their horizons expand. I'm inspired by teachers on our staff who are very diverse. I've intentionally hired about 50% of our staff who are born and raised from New Orleans, Black, white, first generation, affluent, etc. And they are the lifeline of this school, in addition to the 50% of staff who are from all across the U.S. I'm inspired by the synergy between them that pushes the envelope, that schools, especially charter schools in New Orleans, don't have to be all Teach NOLA, all Teach for America. And I'm a huge advocate of our organization, but it doesn't have to be all an alternative educated staff. It can also be traditionally trained teachers. And every dichotomy that says we should not be able to work together exists within this building, and that excites me. I'm seeing paraprofessionals who only have a high school diploma be inspired to go back to school. 5 of them this school year have applied, and they've gotten admitted to universities in our city, and they're beginning bachelor's program this fall. And I think about how, the visions and the intentionality of one person can create an environment of conditions where people are now motivated to change their whole life and their whole family's lives based on what you were able to do, which for me comes all the way back to having been a Corps member in Teach for America.
So, this interview is going to be shown to about 30 incoming Corps members interviewing for teaching positions all across the city. Mm-hmm. What is the one piece of advice you would give to them as they interview at schools similar to yours, mm-hmm. and schools that are also very different from yours?
Mm-hmm. I would say to keep in mind 3 things. One is being very clear about what strengths and areas for growth that you bring to the table. I think it is very important to have a very balanced view of the two. It is very natural for us to play up our strengths and talk about our strengths and go on and on and on about what we do well. Mm-hmm. But if we're not reflective and self-aware of the areas in which we need help, that can be seen as a deficit. Or a gap to the folks that you're interviewing with. So I would say, be honest with yourself about the things that you want to see yourself improve in. The second thing I would say is to be yourself. It is important that the school you're interviewing with sees who you are. And it's very important for you to ask the question, like, does this place feel right to me? Fit matters. It is no different than dating. You have to make sure that, both partners see eye to eye and you have a similar vision for what you want your outcomes to be. And so I think about that second. And the third thing that I cannot, underscore more is being very intentionally prepared in every single way. Professional dress matters. Making sure that we're using, the correct, language to represent ourselves and how we articulate ourselves, that matters. Even if the interviewer makes you feel comfortable, do not engage excessively in an informal way the entire way through. You still bring your A game as if you are on your pins and needles in a lot of ways. And I also think, professionalism in terms of being there on time, having materials printed out in advance if you're asked to do that. While you're in the building, if someone's asking you to be back at a conference room at 11 o'clock, like being responsible to watch your time because your interviewers are watching all those things. So just be highly prepared and break a leg.
Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome.
Any last thoughts to our core members?
Last thoughts to core members. I would say that everything happens for a reason. And so you will be at the school that you're supposed to be at. I think even if it might not be your ideal choice, there is a lesson, there's a reason why you're there that has everything to do with building who you're supposed to be later in life or in your future. There's so many different things that will happen in a school space that will mature you in a plethora of different ways. So I say be open to what the experience may bring and know that it's all going to work out. Everything. You learn how to be a teacher, learn how to write a lesson plan, learn how to manage a classroom. It will all work out. All right. Congratulations, guys.
All right. Thank you so much.